to their bankruptcy situation. So anyway, that being said, we're excited about it and ready to go. Um, the new rules that are going to affect, I think that they will make the game shorter, and the lack of the shift will make the game more exciting. It has the potential to, because no one likes to see a solid line drive single hit into right field caught by a random rover. No matter what you say about you know, not wanting the shift banned or whatever, that's not an exciting play. So I'm happy that that's gone. Um, the pitch clock is kind of, um, I guess it's kind of become one of those necessary evils, because it, from what I've seen and heard, the speed of the game with the pitch clock is kind of the correct speed.
Well, and that's the thing that came out, and Mike Greenberg was talking about it on Greeny this week, about that everybody was griping that the games were too short. I think one game went 3 hours and 6 minutes, 1 hour went like 3 hour, whatever. And it's like nothing's really changed. Now, I think if a guy now one thing that I don't like, and I noticed it and somebody posted somebody's going to get hurt. If a guy starts his pitch, starts his windup, it should be the same as getting fouled. If I start my shooting motion, I get 2 free throws. But I've seen them like we're here about to release, and the umpire goes, whatever he's going to call, I guess, time. Is it a ball? Is it a strike?
It's a ball.
So it's like a balk if you don't get it off.
Yeah, it's a ball to the batter.
But do you agree with that? If the motion of the windup is started, it should bucket be good.
Well, yes, but then that's that just creates more. To the point of this, what I don't like about it is it takes something that you should encourage. Get in the box, get ready, get on the mound, get ready. That's something that, from what listening to people talk, and if you kind of remember back, and back in the day, so to speak, there was much less of the just pitchers that didn't work quick, and
like in the slow pitch softball, where they know the clock's running down.
Yeah, and batters stepping out after every pitch and adjusting their batting gloves and all of that stuff that has kind of just increased to the point of being somewhat ridiculous at times, But I saw a video yesterday of a guy in real time. The at bat lasted 20 seconds, and he struck out on 3 pitches.
That's what I was going to mention. I saw that on Twitter. Like, this guy struck out a batter in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. I know the length of the game benefits concession stands and all those things, but it also, you've got to be sure that you throw and you give your fan at home, your fan in the stands. I just don't think it's going to take away from the game of baseball. I don't think it's going to make it worse. I don't think it's going to make it where, oh man, all the purists are just not going to watch it anymore, like some of the guys did when people stopped watching the NFL because guys were kneeling out, or when the Cowboy fans that don't like the Cowboys anymore because of Tom Landry getting fired. I don't think we're going to have those purist guys just not watching baseball. They may be able to go to bed sooner.
Well, see, I like the idea of shortening the games. I think that it makes it more family friendly. More, you'll go to a game and not necessarily expect to be there, super late. So if you're, you got kids and things like that. I agree that the game was getting too long. I think that something needed to happen. I just think that, and I think there's unintended consequences anytime you change rules. And sometimes you start getting into effect, and you're like, oh, we didn't, this isn't really working the way we thought it should. And so they might need to tweak some things.
But I don't think they're doing anything to make it it's not like they're bringing in a floating basketball goal or something gimmicky.
Oh, no,
it's
weird. Not anything like that. But to the point of, like you said, if you're in mid windup and you're calling it off, I think that's being too much like we're going to stick to this rule versus stick to the notion of speeding up the game. So
Well, and
I
I
think that's an issue.
Well, and again, I think they can do that. I think I'm hoping, I'm assuming. I guess this is my question to you, our Jeff Passon and Tim Kirkshin of the Hodge Pack. Are these rules going into the regular season for sure? Or I know the shift is.
Yes, I mean they are. I don't
Are
know
they
how
going to
quickly.
adjust
I don't
them?
know how quickly they could adjust it. Or the one thing, and the one thing that I do think they should adjust, because I don't. This only would happen at a point in the game that no one cares about it lasting another few seconds, and that is the walk-off situation that you saw where there was a game that the batter and the problem also with this is part of the rule is the batter has to be in the box and looking at the pitcher with 8 seconds remaining. So that becomes a very judgment call where, like, if you're the ump that's behind the catcher and the batter is there in front, how do you judge if he's engaged with the pitcher? I mean, that's a pure judgment call. You could be looking, your head facing this way with your eyes cut
And it
that
may
way.
be a guessing call.
A guessing call, yeah. And so it's like, so that I don't like that. I think it should be stand in the box. If you don't want to look, miss a strike down the middle. I mean, that's on you. So I don't like that because it does make it just that is up for interpretation. Instead of being black and white, it's up for interpretation.
Could you imagine
I don't like that.
Could you imagine losing a perfect game on a pitch clock ball 4?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's things like that, but what I would suggest, if they could adjust the rules, because like I said, it's not a situation that anyone's concerned about a few seconds, and that is if the at bat that's taking place has the potential to end the game, they should turn the clock off.
See, I think they should look at it very similar to like little dribblers. Can't press, can't do these things, but like in the last 2 minutes of a game, you play regular basketball. So I think like the last X, whether that's now you can't honestly like the XFL. You can't go for. I don't think you can do the 4th and 15 unless it's under a certain amount of time and you're behind, and then you can do the 4th and 15 onside thing.
Yeah.
I think you need to adjust those things. Okay, if the game-winning runs at the plate or something like that, then maybe the pitch clock comes off.
That's what I'm saying. Like if it's the possibility of that at bat being the last at bat of the game. So if it's the visiting team up with the home team ahead with 2 outs, you turn off the clock. Because I don't think a game should end because someone thinks that the batter wasn't looking at the pitcher and they called it strike 3. I just think that the game should not end like that. I don't think you should walk in a walk-off, like bases loaded.
The only walk-off walk should be a bean batter or a ball 4.
Right.
Not based on a clock.
Yes. I don't, because that's think about, because everyone, if the bases are loaded and it's tied and you're sitting and watching a Rangers game, it's 4-4, 2 outs in the 9th inning, and there's a guy batting that, like everybody in the place, like you're in tune with that at bat, you're having a good time. You don't need to end the game on, the pitcher in this high pressure situation of the bases being loaded in the bottom of the 9th inning, tie ball game. You didn't start your windup in time, and we're going to call ball 4 because the clock ran out while you were in mid windup. That's asinine.
You know what it's similar to?
Like,
I'm going to give you one guess.
What it's similar to?
That maybe you're on the edge of your seat, you're watching this great game, and this happened. Super Bowl 57.
Oh.
Everybody's excited. Oh, man, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
We're about to have
Jalen
Hurts is about to get the ball, and he's going to go down and game-winning effort.
Just stall it
and
out.
Then, there's a holding call.
Yeah.
That could have gone, could have been called, could not have been called, gets called, and then the climactic of the end.
Yeah, you lost the
clock. And then,
it's
very different.
In that situation that I described, the Rangers still win the game, so you're excited about that. But like that's a high pressure situation that everyone's enjoying.
But as a Chiefs fan, you're excited that you won it.
Yeah.
As a fan, just watching the game because you bought a ticket, it was the first Super Bowl you ever went to. It's the first Ranger game you ever went to, and if it's the first one,
that's gotta. Well, and if you lose, if you're the
but I think
if
you win, if you're not a diehard Ranger fan, if you don't follow it, you're like, man, I really want the Rangers to go.
Weird way to. Yeah.
You're like, oh, that was kind of fun, but then it wasn't.
So I get the notion of speeding it up. Just to reiterate my general thoughts on it, I just think it needs to be tweaked a little bit because you should not have a walk-off like call just like that. Whether it's a strikeout or a walk, it should not be dictate the game.
I agree. Rules are made to make things good, not necessarily make them bad, and we'll see how this transitions as we go through. When we come back, we're going to rattle the snake den as we give a call to Scott Richardson, the head basketball coach for the Toller Rattlers. We'll be back with our Big Country Electric My Town segment right after this as we keep powering through our Embark Land Management Hour number 1. All right, the sound is up. What's up, man? All this rolling through, trying to get technology right. And is that going through Facebook Live? Okay. Yeah, technology's been fun. So anyway, so y'all got the same district in the tournament, and so does Rayburn and Wolf City, huh? Cool. All right, man. Well, I figured, Mullins was giving me a hard time. He goes, man, Holmes must have something on Mullins. No, Mullins hadn't been on the show yet. I said, no, not true. Don't have anything. We got a few commercials and we'll come back. Talk about the season, the excitement of the late start because football does good carrying into basketball. Is this year two for you at Toller? Okay. And just talk about the run, getting the kids bought in. We will talk a little bit. We've had Fostel and Cooley and even Barnett. Of course, it's been a while since he's made the move. The move from girls to boys, those have been boys to girls. Talk a little bit about that and just the playoff run tonight and not looking to Lipan and all those things. So I will say I noticed that Lipan, Itasca only gave up 37 points to Lipan. What happened there? Cool. All right. Well, we're going. We got one more commercial, and then I'll bring it back with the theme music of our segment, and we'll go. So give Daniel a call at 325-668-7071. Or check out the website at Embarkland. Oh, on another note, how crappy is it Lipan and Martin Mills have to play the semifinals on the girls' game?
It's terrible. And I tell you, the boys always for that one. The boys, because they both have done it. Girls win. They reach the finals at the same time. The girls.
Here we go.
673-6700.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack, sports life and everything in between. When you hear that, you know it's time for our Big Country Electric My Town segment, brought to you by Big Country Electric Cooperative, taking care of their members each and every day with three amazing offices, Roby, Snyder, and Stanford. And we highlight a local player, coach, and program. And today we're highlighting a program, not necessarily local, but the coach is local from the 325. Joining us on our Pest Patrol phone line is the head basketball coach for the Tola Rattlers, Scott Richardson. Scott and I grew up together. It's good to have you. Dad says hello, but Scott, we're glad to have you this morning.
Glad to be here. It's really good to hear your voice and talk to you again a long time ago.
And so, Scott, again, joining us on our Pest Patrol phone line. Again, give Pest Patrol a call or a text with 673-6700 to get anything that's bugging you to take a hike. And so, Scott, you're playing late in the season, which is always a good thing with basketball rolling. But this is kind of your second year making the move. We've had Hunter Cooley on last week. We've had Coach Fostel that have made the move from boys to girls. You made the move from girls to boys. Talk a little bit about that change for you and how it's been getting to coach with great people like the Mullins.
You know, you've nailed it on the head. It's not really about, coaching boys or coaching girls. It's more about who you're coaching with. And both of those are a lot of fun. And people always ask me, which one do you prefer? And, I prefer coaching basketball with good people. And I think that's kind of the key to it. But right now, here at Tola, we've got a great coaching staff, a great AD. My assistant coach, Lance Lefevre's an amazing guy. And we're really blessed to have a group that really they do things right. They put kids first. And, that's so attractive for a coach. And it certainly obviously pays off. Our football team won 3 playoff football games, and we've won 3 playoff basketball games. So, by doing those things, you get to see the results.
Well, and you mentioned that Coach Mullins coming in and, kind of setting his name, his dad and his granddad being great football coaches in the state of Texas, and then Jeremy doing that and kind of setting a culture of expectation of winning and how that helps. If you get the mindset, hey, we're going to get playoff T-shirts from football to spring, kind of talk about how that mentality of winning gets contagious from the field to the court.
Yeah, and expectations are key. And when those expectations are consistent from sport to sport, the idea of doing things right on the court, doing things right off the court, the idea of showing up every day and working hard and to a specific standard and practicing to a specific standard, it makes it so easy because those kids are trained that way. And so from that standpoint, it's huge. I think, you said winning's contagious. And more so, doing things right, that becomes the factor. When everybody's doing it that way, boy, it sure gets easy to really train kids up.
Well, and the whole thing last year started, and I still was waiting. Unfortunately, it was Coach Mullins and not Ray Wiley Hubbard. But the Snake Farm has kind of been the theme of, having fun at the Snake Farm. And basketball season's rolling. You're still playing. And talk about, you're in a district that's with your district champions at the regional tournament. You got another district that's got their district champion regional runner-up as well. Talk about where your team is right now and how you go from playing in the EULA tournament district and now where you're at, what does it look like practice-wise, and what are you doing to get ready for a regional tournament appearance that maybe these guys haven't experienced, but you have?
We try to keep everything as normal as possible. We just take it one day at a time. We're big on routines. We do a lot of things the same way. I'm a little OCD, so I probably drive people nuts. This morning I was putting on my shirt, and it was the one I wear on game day was a little bit wrinkled, and I told Trent, it don't matter, I got to wear it. That's the shirt, But with that comfort of those guys knowing this is what we're going to do when we show up, and we know what it's going to be like, and keeping them to where there's no surprises. I think that's how you handle these big moments. And it kind of makes it to where it doesn't feel like there's pressure because this is just what we do. But, in terms of talking about, getting that late start and getting those guys in late from football and all of that type of stuff is, that's the tricky part. Is you have a smaller window where you've got to kind of pull the team together, figure out what we're good at, and get really good at those things. And sometimes, some people think you're at a disadvantage. The team we play tonight, they don't play football. A lot of teams in the regional terms, they don't play football. But the flip side of that is there's some advantages to playing football. And so I don't think it's a disadvantage. I just think you have to understand your season flows differently. And unfortunately, right now, we're peaking at the right time. We're playing our very best basketball at the right time. And the guys are believing in that system. So it's been really good.
Well, and I think being able to compete in a playoff game and 3 playoff games in the football season and experiencing that, hey, we're playing while other people are moving on to basketball, and now we're playing while other people are moving on to football or moving on to baseball and track and spring sports. I think that is an advantage. So talk about what you need to do tonight. Again, you've got a familiar foe on the other side. You know that you're 2 games away from what we used to call the drum. Now it's the dome that can't keep hell out of it. But other than that, how do you focus on tonight and knowing that, hey, guys, we belong here, and you don't treat it like Hoosiers and get the measuring tape out, but knowing, hey, guys, we do the things that we need to do and what we've been doing, and we'll play a game on Saturday.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It is hard to keep people. I've had so many people come to this week and say, we got a chance to play last night Saturday, and I keep saying I'm worried about Sam Rayburn right now. And you're exactly right. There is a little bit of a challenge in that. But in terms of tonight, we've just really tried to do a really good job of back into our routine. Our bulletin board's all about Sam Rayburn right now. Our scouting report's all about Sam Rayburn right now. Our film clips are all Sam Rayburn right now. And so, we're just going to continue to talk about those guys. And really, we do the keys to the game. And my assistant coach and I are kind of laughing because they're pretty much the same every game. Right now we're playing really good defense. We've only been scored, I think, in the last 20 games, only 16 times we've held the team under 40. So we got to go do that again tonight and rebound the ball. We've won the rebounding war in the playoffs every game, and that's been huge. And so just keeping them focused on the little things of the game, the things that we talk about doing daily, I think that's how you kind of avoid that overlooking something and moving on the live hand. Keep them talking about, what's right in front of us.
And one thing, and I should have asked this a little bit ago, what thing or has anything changed in making the move from girls to boys as far as not necessarily how you coach or things that you do? Has that changed much?
No. Yes and no. I think one of the big changes from boys to girls in terms of just actual play is the fact that, the boys do play above the rim. And it does change the things you do in terms of your offense and defense as far as, there's certain types of things you can do because of the fact that the guys play above the rim. The flip side of that is they're kids, and so each group comes with a little bit different set of problems. But you can say that from year to year about teams. I had girls teams that were really easy to coach because there was no drama, and then I've had girls teams that had drama. I've had boys teams that had drama, and boys teams that are really easy to coach because none of that's happened. So I think kids are kids, and what they're looking for is they're looking for a coach that's consistent and that's fair, and that loves them, coaches them up, that gives them the best chance to succeed. And I think if you do that, then it's a lot of fun.
Now, here's a little bit of a tougher question. They say kids have changed, and you've been I coached for 10 years. I've been out for almost 12, so that means you've been in the business almost 20 years, if not plus. What do you think has changed from the first time, not assistant, but your first head coaching job to today? What do you think has changed, if anything?
I think we used to have a captured audience. I think that used to, basketball, football, baseball, that was about all you had to do. and so that's just kind of what we all did. I think now that there's so much to offer out there between social media, video gaming, and everything else that's out in the world, that nowadays you've got to sell your program, you got to sell your sport, because there's just other things to do. And so I think that's the biggest change is we don't have that captured audience anymore.
Well, and you have so many people wanting to focus on one thing, and you don't have a whole lot of people playing football, basketball, baseball. They're, I think travel stuff, but that's a whole nother Ponzi scheme that I can get into. But so I'm going to take one of Misty's questions that she'll have a Misty's bag in a moment. The only thing that's negative about moving our Big Country Electric My Town segment to 7:30 is you don't get her question. So I'm going to throw this question at you that she likes to ask. What's your routine like today? Is it different than a game on December 2nd on a Tuesday? What is the routine for Coach Richardson, or we know Richie? What is your routine today as you get ready for another game tonight? But besides the shirt that still can be wrinkled.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we're pretty exactly the same. I get up, try to get a little light workout in. That's the usual game day deal. Our athletic is 11:30. And we're traveling today because it's the regional tournament. So I've got a gym booked at 11:30 on our travel way. Try to keep that the same. Our practice will look pretty much exactly the same. We do a pregame meal and movie on playoff days. Playoff days are a little different. We do a pregame movie and meal. We have a little Subway 6-inch for them, and we'll do that in the hotel actually. So we try to keep it as the same as possible. Obviously, the location will be different, some of the stuff, and I'm telling you, I'm kind of boring, I guess, but I like routines.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with winning routines. It'd be different if it was producing losses. So you keep doing it. Now, so is it the same movie, or do we have what's the movie today?
Well, actually, that's a good question. I've picked one out. Yeah, we watched a couple. We watched Glory Road this year. We watched the one Rise about the Indian player, watched Dwayne Wade's this thing the other day. Trying to get more. Used to you show Hoosiers. Well, now you put that on. Those kids are like, I don't even know what this is, Coach. I mean, this thing looks so old and boring. So those kind of movies, I don't know that they're the ones to show anymore. But we like Glory Road, like Coach Carter. Any of those kind of motivational fun movies.
Yeah, Hoosiers would be my go-to on repeat, and just they would have to understand. Heck, what's funny is I've officiated some of these games this year. You're about like Coach Dell. You've been in it so long. Some of these young kids coming in, you may be kind of like Coach Dell, and being one of the older guys in the world today. But hey, man, I appreciate you taking the time. I know it's a busy day, and always good to talk to you. I've said all along, there's not a better profession of fraternity, of brotherhood than coaches, and it is, even though I'm an ex-one, still good to be a part of it. And again, as a friend, a long time. And so I appreciate you taking time this morning, and hope you get to take care of Sam Rayburn and get another game tomorrow.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me on. I just want to say real quick, there were a lot of Merkle Badgers in that era that came out of there and did a lot of good things in this profession, and a lot of guys from that. And I know that means a lot to me and to you, but you're right, this coaching profession is special, and I enjoy being a part of it, and it's really cool. And I enjoy what you guys do promoting our sport, because that's something that we talked about, the captured audience, but that's something that's huge for us, is continuing to promote our sports and promote our kids, because I think this is a positive place and a positive platform for us to grow kids.
Well, I appreciate that. And tell folks we'll get it, download, subscribe, rate, and review the Hodge Pack podcast, and let the Snake Farm listen to it over and over. I appreciate it. That's Coach Scott Richardson, the head basketball coach at Toller, getting ready to take on Sam Rayburn tonight. When we come back, we'll have the whole pack here. Misty's back. We'll be back right after this.
Have you enjoyed the Potosi Live experience yet? If not, you're missing
Thanks,
one
Scott.
of the best
Appreciate it, man.
around, with amazing food, great drinks, live music.
All right, have a good one, and good luck tonight.
The Potosi Live team will make sure you have an experience. Potosi Live on Facebook for their upcoming live music and ticket events. Head out to Potosi at 897 FM 1750 for the Potosi Live experience.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing.
Really doesn't.
Chill. It's an easy thing to do.
What else is
Just crack open a nice cold Coors Light
trial?
and
Are
chill.
y'all watching this?
Take the
Very
afternoon
little.
off.
I'm
Don't
obsessed.
watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting
My
you?
Seems to me like the dude.
Or hang out with
Yes,
your
he's
dog.
done all
Because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain Cold Refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Hi, I want one of those hats. That's so cute. I love the colors. I love it. It's super cute. So cute.
The Murdoch, whatever his murder thing is very interesting.
Yeah.
I've heard just random stuff driving down the road, like flip to the radio station, like there's something talking about it or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But I've not dug into it enough to. So someone was killed in a boating accident.
Yes.
And then,
So
but
his
he was
son,
maybe involved in.
well, his son, they were teenagers, and his son was supposedly driving the boat with some teenagers in it. He was drunk, and one of his friends got killed.
Okay.
And so they crashed into, I don't know, some pillars underneath the bridge, and she goes flying and missing, and yeah, she later is pronounced dead. So his son was on trial for that. So I think he, obviously anything that the kids did was covered up because he's got that whole town on lockdown.
Yeah.
All right, hang on. Go to where?
Law enforcement, all that is kind of the story.
Mid builder.
But
Okay.
he's on trial right now for the murder of that kid that was in the boating
Yeah,
accident and his wife. One of his
All right,
sons.
but where do I go? I got vent builder. I got audio,
What
beat
is-
track.
I know that he says it was like a hit.
Fine.
Like drug cartel?
See, there's so many
then
different.
click what?
Yeah.
But what is the motive? I know that all the evidence is bad for him as
Well,
far as
and
where he was. And
he's-
Oh, I haven't done that so
He's
long. I'm
embezzled
gonna
a
just
ton
copy
of
it.
money from people.
Yeah.
Their housekeeper supposedly slipped and fell at their house and got killed, and then he sued his own self, and it was like over $4 million. But then he didn't give it to family; he kept it. Like it's on Hulu or Netflix.
Yeah.
It is a trail of craziness.
Yeah. So yeah, several people.
I don't have it popping
Yes.
up. I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
I can't. I'm not worried about it.
Supposedly the older
I'm
son
not
was
smart enough to
in
figure it out.
relations with, just was literally inside or in the middle of the road dead. And obviously, well, I think that the son was dabbling, and so.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack. We're glad that you're with us this morning. We're trucking right along in our Embark Land Management 7 o'clock hour. We have the whole pack here now. Misty's with us. Misty, how's the morning going?
So far, so good. It's Friday.
It is Friday. We're trucking along and just rolling. Coach Scott Richardson trucking along. Hope the old Rattlers keep rolling. Live Pan's pretty loaded. If you're, again, Josh, we mentioned Nazareth girls basketball. Live Pan's pretty much the same way. Been good for a long time. And so hopefully Coach Richardson and the Rattlers can, which is a cool name, You've got a lot of Bulldogs, you've got a lot of Eagles, not a whole lot of Rattlers out there.
Yeah, that is really cool.
So I'm a pretty big fan of that. But so we're trucking along, and Misty, we always around this time, we like to do what we call so you've got a bag and you've got some news about your bag.
Yes. So I've got a new sponsor for my bag. So Mulligan's has come on board, and they are the newest sponsor for Misty's bag. So Misty's bag is now sponsored by Mulligan's, and if you've never been to Mulligan's, you are missing out. It's a par 3 golf course. They've got all the good food, all the good atmosphere, all the TVs, drinks, just fun for the whole family. It's just super. There's volleyball courts out there. I mean, super fun venue. And so I'm just super excited that the King family has sponsored us, and we love the Kings and we love Mulligans. And so they also always have great live entertainment during the week and on the weekends. So it's just, they really truly have something for everyone. And so I'm just thrilled to have them as part of the Hodge Pack and my back sponsor.
All right, fantastic. So what do we got in it?
So with that being said, this question comes from C Cook 97.
Is that Cook with an E at the end, or just C-O-O-K?
Just a K.
Gotta make sure.
Yeah, so y'all can try to figure it out.
I want to see a streak of how many emails have a number in it.
Yeah.
Well,
Last
every email
week-
has a number, because
Mine
if you're
does
not the first
my
one.
personal email does.
Mine, see, my email does not.
What was your first email?
Big Baller 14.
That was you.
Yeah.
What was your first
I'm not
email
kidding.
platform though? Hotmail.
Hotmail was mine.
Mine was Mac_19 at Hotmail because my middle name is Mac. I was 19 when I got it, and that's how it went.
I think, was MSN one?
MSN
or
was one.
maybe-
Mine was Hotmail. Never.
I can't remember if it was Hotmail or MSN. I don't know, but yeah. Because my number is 14, my basketball number, and obviously I'm a big baller, so
Yeah,
you know.
shot
Yeah.
caller.
I mean, not the
Most
question,
people
but
go their basketball.
My first one was Don Cardon at hotmail.com.
Don Cardon.
And
Oh,
the reason why,
my.
was because I acquired a jacket from a guy that was he worked in the oil field. There was like this Nomex fireproof jacket that had reflectors on it.
Gosh,
and
we were so cool.
And it said Cardon on the name tag, and it was, the guy's name was Don Cardon. So I'd wear this jacket that said Cardon on the name tag, and I just made up an alter ego.
Do you still
Don
use that
Cardon.
email? Is it still?
We
I
will
have
now
not
be
tried to-
referring to you as Dawn.
I have not tried to
log in?
tried to log in a long time. I might have to recover my
You
password.
probably won like Publisher Clearinghouse.
I-
and you don't even know.
Very many Nigerian princes have reached out to me to give me
Rescue.
Exactly.
All right. Well, there you go. Thanks, Cook, for chiming in with your email.
Sorry, that was a derail.
I think it was a very educational.
No, it was. Okay. So he wants to know, I mean, I'm assuming maybe it's Christy Cook. I don't know. I'm just thinking this is a he,
You're
but
very stereotypical.
I am. I'm sorry. You're walking down a dark alley and find yourself surrounded
By what?
people.
Okay.
Possible robbers. I don't know.
Crows?
They said the only way they will let you go is if you tell a dad joke and make them laugh. What dad joke are you telling?
I'm gonna have to Google dad jokes. I don't need dad jokes.
Or joke, just whatever.
Man, I really need Dan Orlowski today because Dan Orlowski does a dad joke every Monday on Get Up. I'm trying to remember some of it.
I don't. I mean, I've got a. It's one of those things that dad jokes just happen. Like I don't. I'm very embarrassing to my daughter. It's just going to get worse, and I'm looking forward to that. But I'm trying to think.
Y'all are kind of stumped right now.
Well, no,
Look
it's
at
okay.
y'all.
You act like we have a pocket of dad jokes that we just roll out.
I mean, I feel like everybody should at least have one, like, ready to fire. Like, I've got one ready to fire.
Then you go first.
Yeah,
That's my question.
it's irrelevant. We don't have an answer.
Okay. Actually, I can't take credit for this one because it's Ethan's joke when he was literally 5 years old. So, this is the joke that I would use because it's literally the only joke I can ever remember. What did the mama bullet say to the papa bullet?
What?
We're having a baby. It's so terrible.
Wow. I don't think dad jokes are supposed to be good.
No, they're not, but
I think that it's all in the delivery too. You got to get people.
And when your 5-year-old son is obviously telling you that, it's hysterical. And I don't even know where he came up with that. I heard it.
But see, that did remind me once. I knew it would spark my memory, and it's the tomato families walking down the street, and the son was kind of lagging behind. Dad turns around and smashes him and says, "Ketchup."
Oh my gosh, see? They're just like, we need like a sound like, wah, wah. Like, so bad. You had a great delivery, though. In the smash, very violent smash.
Violent.
I'm not going to lie. The best thing you can do is Google something. So I'm going to pick this one because it fits something I like. Why do fathers take an extra pair of socks when they go golfing?
I don't know. Why?
In case they get a hole in one.
Oh, yes. Yes. And that's fitting for mulligans.
There you go.
That
Very
was
fitting.
great.
Yeah.
Very fitting.
All right, Cook. So, but my question is, do you think that group of people would be scared when you slam the ground
Oh, for sure.
and let you go?
Yeah.
Like,
There's
like,
he's slamming and running.
But
Don Juan or whatever is
Don
on the
Cardon.
is on the way out.
Yeah, Don Juan is his friend. Don Juan and Don
That could have been the
Cardon.
middle name. I don't know.
Don Juan Cartel.
Cardon.
Cardon, not Cartel.
Why are you having a mental lapse?
I'm never gonna get this right.
What's in your tea?
My,
I can't tell you.
Normally, she gets this goofy when she eats the burrito.
Yeah, I
I
know.
She
didn't
hasn't even had the
yet.
burrito yet. It's,
but I also do this.
I'm just in a good mood. I don't know.
Like if my daughter ever says something along the lines of like, "Well, I'm just being funny," like she'll say that to like in defense or something, and so the automatic comeback is, "Yeah, but looks aren't everything."
yeah, that's true.
That's the
I know you are, but what am I? Yeah.
This is also another one. I think this is from Ethan. What is Bruce Lee's favorite drink? Water. You know, like karate.
You know.
I love the.
They're so terrible.
I love that didn't come with a subtitle. That came with an explanation. And for those that are watching on Facebook or YouTube, congratulations. You're welcome.
I don't know where that
Like
karate.
karate?
I think it's kung fu.
Oh,
Yeah.
Kung Fu.
Yeah, get
There's so
the
many.
genre
I
right.
don't know.
Jiu-jitsu.
All right.
I can't keep up.
That is true. Well, in that,
You can't keep up. Just forget about
in
it.
that, we're going to head into the 8 o'clock hour and get ready for some more Hodge Pack as we're up and rolling again. Mulligan's Bag. Don't forget to email Misty's Bag at
Yahoo.com.
yahoo.com to get your question read on the air. Don't forget, we'll have Josh's very educational moving to make your weekend better and your life better. 8 o'clock hour kicking off right after this.
She said, "What's in your tea? You're never this goofy unless you eat your burrito." There usually is something in the burrito.
I'm here to let you know
It's been a
about
while
our
since
document
we've
destruction and
talked
paper
about
shredding business. Our services
Yeah.
include routine pickup, purges,
There were
and
several
separate
questions
drop-offs
to choose
at our
from,
state-of-the-art safe and
it's
secure
getting hard.
facility. Our folks at DR
What she said.
are better known as are here to assist, concern, and
There was one that I really wanted to ask, but it would automatically go. My answer was going to be a little nerdy, and I thought I might get in trouble. It was just an innuendo, but obviously,
All right, listeners.
I'm
So,
gonna ask you a question.
oh, we're going to the green room.
Okay.
One adding insulation might happen. My electric co-op helps me use energy wisely and save money. So I guess you could just call me Energy Bill. Lower Energy Bill. Learn more about the power of your co-op membership at togetherwesave.com.
Big Country Electric Co-op is your local member-owned electric co-op. Offices in Stanford, Roby, Snyder, and at Big Country Day Co-op.
Have you enjoyed the Potosi Live experience yet? If not, you're missing one of the best atmospheres around. With amazing food, great drinks, live music, TVs to watch your favorite sporting events. The Potosi Live team will make sure you have an experience that you're going to tell your friends about. Check out PotosiLive.com or go like them at Potosi Live on Facebook for their
Hey, Josh, what was that G.I. Joe video under?
Now you know.
I'll send it to you. Light is a light beer brewed for people who love the taste of beer. Those who are always the first to volunteer for beer runners. Who hit up tailgates for sports that they don't even like. And believe having a beer fridge in the garage is not a rush. It's a 96 gallon
Miller Lite. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2022 Miller Lite.
And no, I get that. When it comes to farming,
Hey, I need y'all's thoughts on where to go with.
What? Sorry, we were having a meeting in the green room.
I don't have a whole lot of research on the combine. We can go back and talk. We got the Jalen Carter thing that I think we can talk about. Do we talk about that combine? All right, tell you what, we're going to talk about the combine, Jalen Carter's situation, and then we can roll into Josh's deal after that.
Okay, yeah, I haven't looked at the combine.
It was on in the background.
So I don't know that we're gonna have a lot to say. You know what I mean?
All right, tell you. It's either that or the Luka, Dak, and dive into it.
Hello. Can you hear me? Hey, it's Greg Austin. Join me Monday through Friday afternoons, 2 to 7. We kick it all off with Texas Country and the Texas Two-Step at 2 happy hour, 4 to 5. And of course, we come aboard the largest.
How long do we need to talk? What are we talking
with the drive at 5.
We're going to go combine. I got it. Look up that article on Jalen Carter.
And the best country music ever made and played, guaranteed. Greg Austin, afternoons, 2 to 7, right here on the Country Giants.
Hello, good morning, how you doing? Waking up, shaking.
Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day. We're kicking off the 8 o'clock hour. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new hour as we're rolling through the Hodge Pack this morning. Again, guests appear by the Pest Patrol phone line. We are brought to you by Lotto Land and Cattle, hanging out in the Potosi Live studio, and we're glad that you're with us this morning. A lot going on over the weekend, as we've mentioned it. One of the big things is we've got the NFL Combine. People trying to change their life, people trying to improve their status. Interviews. You've got linemen running 4-second 40s. You've got all those things happening. People interviewing. And so, in all that, this past week, one of the big things that happened was one of the top draft prospects, Jalen Carter, was arrested on a misdemeanor, was involved in a accident that involved a teammate passing away and also a recruiting staff member. He was arrested, but he's already back at the combine, and he released a statement saying that he feels like once all this stuff is out that he will be exonerated, the truth come out. And I threw this out. How much of this, again, the sad part is 2 people pass away. But this is moving on. And if you're looking at a draft prospect, first of all, I think Willie Anderson just, even though I thought Willie Anderson was above him anyway, how do you approach this? How would you, if you're a general manager, how are you looking at the Jalen Carter situation? I think we talked about it, and we're going to have Josh's PSA in a moment. But a PSA for real is you need to understand when you go to start making these choices in college or even in high school, Henry Ruggs, one of the best receivers in the league, is no longer in the league because of choices. Now, Jalen Carter's his misdemeanor. He feels like he's going to get off on, he's going to be able to not face any problems. He's at the combine. How do you look at that as a team? He's a great talent, national champion. Many think he could be the number 1 draft pick. But how do you look at that if you're a general manager? Do you think, hey, maybe he's learned and move on? Or how do you handle that?
That's a tough one. And I think it depends on the team and who they're going to pick. I don't know that I mean, obviously it hasn't come out. We don't know the end yet. And there have been several people in the league that have gotten in trouble for numerous things, and they're still on the roster. And it's like innocent until proven guilty. And so I don't know. That's tough. I don't know that I would want the drama surrounding that if I'm a general manager, because culture, it all starts with culture, in my opinion. So I don't know. I don't think that I would want all that. They say publicity either way is good or bad. It's still publicity, but I don't know that I'd want that type of publicity if I'm a general manager.
Well, here's what Adam Schefter had to say on First Take about the Jalen Carter situation.
Carter is now back in Indianapolis at the Combine after posting bond last night in Georgia. He has returned to Indianapolis to meet the team and to begin the process, Molly, of answering all the questions that teams have, because there are going to be a lot of questions that teams have about his alleged involvement that night and what role he played here and what he thinks of the situation. And when teams are debating whether to use a top pick on Jalen Carter, they're going to want to have all the information that they can. And Jalen Carter obviously feels like he wants to tell his side of the story, which is why he was in a rush to get back here to answer all those.
So how do you think? I mean, so he wants to get back there. He wants to explain it. And if I'm a general manager and owner, first of all, some of the things have changed in the fact that now these guys can earn a lot of money. Used to in the past, they may make bad decisions, and now my thought is, you make bad decisions without money. What are you going to do with a bunch of millions of dollars? Are you going to be able to handle that? But a guy like him, I'm sure he had an NIL deal. I'm sure he was having money flowing in. But he's like really rushing to tell his side of the story. And maybe his side of the story does explain a lot of things. But I think it's not a good look when instead of asking football questions and scheme questions and other things, now you've got to focus on off the field more questions than you do on the field questions. And I think if I'm Willie Anderson, I'm excited. And if I'm some of these quarterbacks that might have been questionable whether or not they were going to pick Carter over a quarterback or another skill player, I think it's a benefit for them as well.
Well, I mean, yes, I guess if you look at it from that perspective, you move up to the draft board a little bit if someone else falls down. And I don't know how long it's been in the works as far as like this car crash occurred that they say he participated in. Whether or not he did, I mean, his statement is that he will be fully exonerated was the statement that he made. Who knows? So you feel for everybody involved, obviously, in something that, two young people lost their lives, and they say nothing good happens after midnight. Obviously, there was a bunch of stupid going on, and
bad choices.
It cost people, and that's the real life consequences are much more sad than the football consequences. So sometimes you start talking about that, and it's like not the reason why I'd want to move up a spot on the draft board, but
right.
But it does have that domino effect. And, you could get to, obviously, we've seen this recently, with the Dallas Cowboys ended up able to sign La'el Collins, who was a first-round talent who got charged with murder, that ended up being exonerated. And the Cowboys signed him. He's still playing in the NFL and, has not had any, discipline issues since. So, I mean, that was a situation that he fell all the way off the board, and then we found out, at least you're always presumed innocence, but his innocence was made known, and it ended up working out for everybody. But I don't know how this one's going to go. But
it's going to be interesting to see where Jalen Carter lands. Again, the draft is next month. It looks that he was booked on the pair of misdemeanors at 11:30 on Wednesday and released at 11:49 after posting 11:33 p.m. Wednesday, was released at 11:49, posted a $4,000 bond according to online records, and an arraignment hearing is in the case set was for April 18th. So you're going to have that, and then you're going to have the draft shortly after. So we'll see what happens there. The other news out of the combine was it's still quarterbacks. It's Bryce Young. It's C.J. Stroud. It's Anthony Richardson, Will Lentz. But the other one is Lamar Jackson still doesn't have a contract. Lamar Jackson still doesn't have one. And their general manager came out and basically was asked about the situation and said that they've never hit on receivers. Well, Rashad Bateman came out and was like, why don't you stop blaming us and Lamar Jackson for your situation and all those things. So it's going to be interesting to see what Lamar Jackson does. But again, I still think all the other contracts have ruined the contract market for quarterbacks and all that. But a lot of folks there, the combine, they call it the underwear Olympics because nobody really does anything but runs and jumps and see how many times I guess you can hit 250 or whatever it is. And some quarterbacks will throw, some won't. But Bryce Young's getting a lot of flack for being little, whether he can compete at 5'10", and he's under 200 pounds. And what's funny is he's got the program entered too. They've got him listed at 6 foot, like 199 or 200, trying to make his Madden stats look a little better. But it'll be interesting to see what comes out. Mike McCarthy came out and said some things about wanting to be didn't care about being the number one offense. He thought we didn't run the ball well enough, and but was going to miss Kellen Moore and is excited about calling the offense. And it's kind of like they get all their buddies together at the combine and air laundry, and it gives them a chance to share their thoughts. And so NFL Combine is going to be on all weekend. You can watch people run the 40s and all the things. So.
And there is a lot going on. It's very interesting that this all happens. I guess they moved this up from how it used to be because it used to be later in the year, but it puts it right here with the beginning of the free agency and those contract extensions being in the works with the
free agency starts March 15th.
Right, with the restricted free agents and what are teams are they going to renegotiate those, or are you going to let those guys go? The 5th-year options for the people that were drafted in the first round 4 years ago.
And I learned this week there's two. You could be franchise tagged with 2 different labels, non-constructual or something like that. There's 2 different labels of being franchise tagged, and one gets you a little bit more money, one is less money. And so over the next few weeks, the dominoes, and again, everybody's waiting for Aaron Rodgers to make a decision so the other people can make quarterback decisions based off
right. And that 5th-year option is always interesting for those guys. Like I said, those first-round draft picks get that 5th year at the discretion of their team. So they're signed to that. In one of those choices that's coming up is Tua with Miami, which the way he started last year, you would think that'd be a no-brainer. But now you got to worry if his brain is even going to work.
So over the next few weeks, football is going to keep rolling as always, and it's going to be interesting because those dominoes, even though training camp's not till July, even though mini camps aren't till April, and the drafts in April, all those things, the dominoes will start falling once Aaron Rodgers makes a decision and we head that way. When we come back, we're going to educate you. I'm not. Josh is, and it'll be better. You'll be better once you hear about it. Right.
Here with Disability Resources Incorporated. I'm here to let you know about our document destruction and paper shredding business.
What do y'all think Aaron Rodgers is going to do?
Routine pickup, purges, or we accept drop-offs at our state-of-the-art safe and secure.
He's got $60 million waiting on him if he does that.
Yeah.
Shredders are here to assist and serve you in the destruction.
He would draw it out.
He would really have to think, in my mind, that there's some other place to go that drastically increased his chances of winning the Super Bowl to turn down that type of money.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think there's a place. Well,
I was going to say where though. Yeah,
I don't think really.
I don't think that place exists right now.
Finding the hallway. This is where the magic happens. Programmable thermostat knows when to raise the temperature.
To drop it.
Into a powerhouse. Learn more about the power of your co-op membership at togetherwesave.com.
Big Country Electrical is your local member-owned electrical offices in Stanford, Roby, Snyder, and at bigcountry.coop.
Have you enjoyed the Potosi Live experience yet? If not, you're missing one of the best Avenue fairs around, with amazing food, great drinks, live music, TVs to watch your favorite sporting events. The Potosi Live team will make sure you have an experience that you're going to tell your friends about. Check out PotosiLive.com or go like them at Potosi Live on Facebook for their upcoming live music and ticket events. Out to Potosi at 897 FM 1750 for the Potosi Live experience.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice cold Coors Light
Right.
and chill.
Right.
Yes.
That would be tough, yeah.
But I've seen the story and I heard that it was
Because you've had enough human
staffer
interaction.
and
Whatever you
player.
do it
I
with
didn't know.
Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshments made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
There's recruiting person is a 24-year-old.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Quite literally a pretty face to take players to cross.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've heard those things.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like,
All right, Josh, this is 7 seconds long.
Okay.
And knowing is half the battle.
That's all I'm going to play.
Yeah, that's it.
that's great.
That's exactly what
G.I. Joe.
That's exactly.
Don Juan.
So, Don Martin.
And knowing.
I can't say anything other than Don Juan now.
So you think
Don Juan.
with the
Yeah. Yes. I like the title of that. I do like that intro.
What'd you say?
That intro.
What'd you say?
What'd you say?
Hunter, what?
Yeah.
The rest of your life is going to start today. And you're going to be glad it started today because we are continuing. We kicked off last week a segment where we're working on the name of it. The More You Know has been taken. But
Yeah,
we
didn't invent that.
no, we did not invent that. But we are working on making sure that we educate you and make things better for you. So Josh has got that for you, and it's important because knowing is half the battle, Josh, and so we would like for you to let us know.
No, I'm going to. You know, excuse me. One thing that everyone needs to know, because this will make your life better. You have to be self-aware. Okay. Now, self-awareness comes in many different forms. I mean, depending on, like, some people wear things they shouldn't wear, and some people, you know, maybe put their foot in their mouth on occasion, say things that come back and bite them in the rear. But one thing that you need to be very, very self-aware of, and you just need to take a deep, you know, like, retrospective of your life and make sure that you are not a church pew diva.
Church pew
A
diva.
church pew diva.
What?
In the words of most spelling bee people. Definition, please.
Well, you could also call it like a karaoke hero. You know, the idea of and you know, if you've gone to church more than a couple times in your life, you've had the run-in with the church pew diva. This is the person that's a few rows, maybe right behind you in the church, and it's they're singing some songs, and this person's busting it out. I mean, like
you did on the like Whitney Houston.
Well, exactly. There's a time and a
Like
place.
on Big Mama's house.
I'm talking. No, just like put yourself in this place. There's the like you're I don't know. You're supposed to make a joyful noise unto the Lord, and some are more joyful than others. I've sat in front of people. I'd be like, I wish this person would shut up. Like because it's distracting me. But then that person is like, they are trying out for American Idol 2 pews back. They're busting it out, and they're knowing that just any moment now, the worship leader is going to call them up on stage because they are gifted like one of the angels. God himself put this voice into this body for you to bless the congregation, and maybe you're really not that good.
So, but what if they're not doing it for show? That's just the spirit moving.
That's where you have to be very self-aware. I think if you're this person, you know, it's because that's the whole thing. That I'm not gonna lie. I will judge. I'm not supposed to. I'm gonna say I'm not the judge. I will.
I got a text from one of our listeners. They just said guilty.
Yeah. I'm like, am I the church pew diva?
Like, so if
like
you're,
if you don't know if you have a cousin Eddie, you are.
Deep inside, you know that you're like, man, I am rocking this. This person in front of me is like being blessed by my gift. And that's probably
but what
not
if the
case.
person really is? Because
it's fine if you're really good. That doesn't change the fact that you're not singing because you are just getting down with the song. You're singing because you are like rocking it.
I have a question.
So
Are
not
Grammys
church,
exempt?
So church diva / if you're auditioning instead of worshiping,
that's the diva.
we've got a problem.
That's why it's not just you're just not singing. You're not just
because
truly
I will
using
say
your
this.
gift
Like
in
maybe
singing.
we're doing Mariah Carey riffs. Like,
oh yeah,
you're
yes.
going hard.
And you got the whole now you can't see it, but you're
Yeah.
just like.
But not grandmas, right? Like there are some grannies that are getting down. My
Well,
grandma, may she rest in peace. Love her.
But here's the deal.
But she would belt it, y'all, and she didn't know about American Idol. That's all I'm saying. I don't think the grandmas really know.
There is a difference.
It's all about your heart.
It is. Because I've seen some people, and they'll be like, we're singing, you got Joy Down in My Heart, or a very peppy song, and like their face looks like they don't want to be there, and they're
RBF.
Yeah, well, just they to be a redeemed person, they don't seem very joyful in it, and they may be worshiping in a way. Because don't get me wrong, there are people
it's all about your heart.
There are people, and I do agree. Now, there are songs in the hymnal, and I can say that because at Rotan we use the hymnal. There are songs that come up on the screen at Beltway or at Lawn Baptist that no different than if you hear a song on KLGD, that's it. I'm in.
Oh, you got your jam.
Yeah,
there are your
jams.
There are your jams when that goes on.
If the audition is happening, I also feel like there's an outfit.
Oh,
it's usually like high heels and maybe like an inappropriate low cut dress. I have spotted these people at my congregation.
Yes, it's all about the show.
So I understand what you're saying.
That is the. I have been in this situation, and I can see it in my mind. And like I said, it might not be my job to judge, but I will judge you,
especially in the church.
Yes.
Well, honestly,
and it's all in your perspective. But if you're at all singing in church and you have in your mind, these people really are enjoying hearing me sing, just like we talked about earlier with Texas and Penn State, you just need to slap yourself. And
I throw this out. The other people that have to be conscious of that are the worship leaders.
Oh, well, yeah.
Because sometimes
it's easy to
sometimes
get a little ego caught up in that.
Well, just sometimes as the worship leader, I think some, and again, this is questioning some things, but in that, are they trying to get you into the mood as well? Because don't get me wrong, I will say this, and I'm a firm believer. There are people that can lead music, and there's people that can lead worship.
Absolutely.
And that's two totally different things.
And some people are very musical and like.
And there are some people that know what to do with the song. It's no different than preaching.
Right.
You've sat in front and you've been to preachers, and you're like, man, when is this over? And then there's some, they preach and you're like, engaged. It's the same thing with worship leaders. But I do think the church, what's funny is church obviously clothes has changed. What cracks me up is like the dresses, and y'all both have daughters. And if it's on the trek of what we've seen, we used to, when I was at Merkel as youth minister, a lot of times people would wear their prom dress to church the next day. Well, the problem is prom dresses today,
they barely cover your
parts. They're very short.
You definitely can.
But back to the church diva. So you're more knowing is half the battle.
Knowing is half the battle.
Is knowing your surroundings and knowing you need to be there to not audition but to worship.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Because if you are there because you truly think you're going to be, the next top talent in worship leading, like if you're going to be at the Dove Awards next year, just sit out.
Well, again, I won't throw anybody under the bus, but I just love divas are not always females.
That is true.
Very conscious of it. Well, I mean, we've seen NFL receivers and quarterbacks. And,
but I know what you're saying about. But I'm saying grandmas have to be exempt because they can't hear anyways. They don't even know how they sound.
Now that's a totally different thing.
That's
I have
very
some
loud.
because I will there's. I'm not going to name names, but there's been a specific person that sat next to me at church, for many years, and so bad that it was like refreshing if they had to miss Sunday.
But do they know that? Do they know that?
I'm sure they don't. No, I'm not going to say anything.
But it's honestly, it's like on Seinfeld, which again, everything comes back to sports or Seinfeld. There's this episode in the Hamptons, and they go and they walk in, and the baby's extremely ugly. And,
there are some ugly babies.
And they're like Jerry and Elaine are like, it's a must-lie situation. Oh, definitely, it's a must-lie situation. And but what's funny is, so obviously I'm preaching at Rotate now, and we would go to First Baptist here in Abilene. And I'll sing, and I don't think I sing very great. I mean, you heard me at Friends in Low Places, talking with the boys. But I'll sing, and I don't sing loud. I just sing. And every once in a while, it's almost like, so there'll be people that would turn and say, "Oh, we just love your singing," and I'm like, "How bad was the person that sat here last?"
Or is that like a slap, like "bless your heart"?
No, they're serious. You can ask Tracy; they are serious. Like, oh, we just—it's so good to hear. And I guess maybe because husbands husbands. Hang on, here's my PSA: husbands, get your butts to church with your wives. Get your butts to church with your wives.
I just want to go back to the worship leading and when they're singing, like, and do y'all think that the words after the song like come to them when the song's over and the music's playing and they're just like saying a phrase like, "We love you, Jesus"? I mean, I don't know, like y'all know what I'm talking about.
I think I'll judge on that depending on the situation.
I think that's leading worship. I think they got the platform,
right,
so I'm not going to throw them under the bus.
No.
I think.
But do they already know what they're going to say?
I can't judge that. I don't know. It's not the script.
Well, I'm just always curious.
Of.
Like, I wonder how they just came up with that phrase. Like the interim.
Well, I think they're used to it. I don't think worship leaders don't worship. I don't think worship leaders only worship during practice and Sundays. They're probably worshiping during time. I would venture that they would say that even in the car if they're worshiping.
We must get one on the show and ask them.
Well, we are transitioning from football season.
Yeah, who's available next week?
Yeah. All right. So worship leaders that are tuning in right now to 106.9 The Country Giant, where you can listen to us anywhere in the world with KLGD1069.com. Let us know where you're at on the worship. So
it's just, you just like feeling
the challenge for those of you Sunday.
You know what I'm talking about.
I want you to think about it.
All right,
on Sunday.
All right, Josh is trying to get excited there, but
He is.
but I will tell you, the challenge for you, there is homework this Sunday. Worship Jesus. Let's see if you have any divas in your
Oh,
church.
I will be doing a book report next week.
We will have a report. Feel free to take a picture of them, post them on our Facebook page. No,
Yeah.
don't do that. Don't do that. But enjoy worship this week. Don't be a diva. Hey, honey, act like no. This is gonna be people Sunday at
Do
church.
not put a picture of me on the Hodge Pack, you jerks.
Yes. Feel free. If Misty is the diva on Sunday,
I'm
let us
gonna
know.
do it just in
If
case.
she's a diva, if she's a diva next Thursday, let us know. But the other thing is, we're gonna have people saying, "Act like you're taking a picture of me," but we're gonna get diva back behind us.
Yes.
Hey, when we come back, we're gonna look at it. Some folks that think this guy's a diva, we're gonna try to debate what kind of career has LeBron James had as a Laker right after this.
Oh, man. That was
good.
funny.
With Disability Resource Incorporated. I'm here to let you
More
know
like
that our
we are
doctors
judging. Like,
our services
Dude, I'll work.
routine
but everybody.
pickup, we accept drop-offs.
Coming from a worship leader, you nailed it.
Our folks at DRI, or better known as the DRI Shredders, are here to assist and serve you in the destruction of your most
Well,
private
I guess we're gonna
documents
find out
or
what
just
happens.
those annoying stacks of boxes you've had piled up over the years. Give us a call at 325-232.
No, I mean,
it's
just
come out and see
like,
us at
I wake up,
3602
brush my
North
teeth,
Clark
take it,
Street.
yeah.
You'll be
So,
glad you did.
most
And I
days
know the
it's-
DRI
I didn't do that.
Shredders will too.
Yeah.
My
But
life is
I would
always
just-
on.
But 7
Every
she's
single
gonna
day.
be more.
And the
Yeah.
electricity
I'm gonna be
my
up
car
at that
provides
same time
more
every day.
than ever before.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Online while I watch
obviously,
TV.
there's some Saturdays and Sundays I'm not up at 5 o'clock. You know, like,
For my mother. I depend on the
but
electricity
most
from my
Saturdays
car
and
to
Sundays.
power my life and keep me connected every single day. Learn more
I had
about
an
the power
internal
of the
alarm
membership
clock.
at
It's like-
togetherwesafe.com.
It's just a matter of if I can go back to sleep or not.
Owned electric co-op. Offices in Stanford, Roby, Snyder, and at
My
bigcountry.co-op.
phone started like
Have you enjoyed the
all kinds
Potosi Live experience yet? If not, you're missing one of the
Sometimes I
best
wonder if
experiences
people can
around.
see me in the bathroom.
Great drinks, live
yes.
music,
Like,
Yeah, we take.
Oh, yeah, I can.
Actually, this camera has 2 feet.
No, like legit.
You're welcome.
I
No,
just
there is
went
a
in
window. There's a
and I'm like,
window.
I
Yeah.
wonder if somebody just saw me. I just
I
thought
think
about that.
there's not another building like if see like that building was taller, you might could like look straight across.
True.
Yeah,
Or
but
like
there's not-
the garden people.
But I don't think you could look up in the night.
I guess they can see my face, but not my rear. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I just thought about that. I was like, huh.
Folks, if y'all let us know in the comments if you can see Misty in
Can
the
you
bathroom.
see me? Go into the bathroom. I mean, people are sick.
I've got my binoculars.
They put cameras in bathrooms.
If you move over a little bit, it would be a lot easier. But other than that, no.
Who wants to watch someone go into the bathroom?
That
It's
is
disgusting.
but people are weird.
They are very weird. Very, very, very weird.
When it comes to finding the right vehicle for you, there's no better
Yeah,
place
very, very, very.
to solve a problem.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny. I'm gonna be on the lookout for the divas.
Me too.
I will spot the divas.
A new car, truck, or SUV? Come see us. Our business online at LawrenceAutoDialing.com. Voted Abilene's best new car dealer for over 28 years. How you like customers?
Hi, I'm Sharon Ryan. Here in Abilene, folks have lots of options for eating out, from large chains to locally owned mom and pops like us. I want you to know we really appreciate your business and are always trying for wonderful food, service, and prices. So we listen to you and have updated our menu, bringing back all your favorites like nachos and fajitas, and adding more small plates for the light appetites. So come see us. I want to hear you say, yum, yum.
Pest Patrol, Pest Patrol, Pest Patrol. You get a big bright yellow truck coming to your door. Pest Patrol.
I'm Will and Hurt, and we've been protecting families just like yours with pest problems for 30 years. If you have pest issues, let our family help yours. For service or questions, call or text at 325-673-6700.
A big bright yellow truck coming to your door. Pest Patrol.
At First Faith and Trust, our story started in 1996, and it continues because of you, our customers, our communities, and our neighbors. We are proud to be a small part of your
That one sounds
success.
good.
But where
Versus
does your story
Josh's
start?
bank.
Where do you want to go? Whether starting
It
at
did
this
get put in. We're gonna. I don't think.
we want to help
we
you
didn't
take
get
your first steps
which is
towards
fine
something
because
big. Call
we'll get
or
it in next
email
week,
one of our
or we'll
bankers
try to
at
set one
First Faith and Trust.
Yeah.
We see potential, ideas, innovation, growth everywhere.
Remember at FDIC and equal housing lender.
Good morning as we keep rolling through our 8 o'clock hour, saying good morning to you. Hope everybody's having a great day as we keep trucking along in our 8 o'clock hour. It is a good day. It's March. We're rolling. Spring break's not far for those of you students. And NBA playoffs, NBA season's winding down. March Madness is coming. We'll have our March Madness bracket challenge that you'll get to be a part of. We'll get Josh to set that up. And again, be careful as you get ready for church this week. Be sure you're not one of those divas. Misty, one of the things that's been talked about this past week is LeBron James, the NBA game, coming to an end. We were talking. I'm going to ask you the same question we asked Josh earlier because it came to me this morning during my prep. Who has more of a pressure to win a championship and bring it back to Dallas, Luka or Dak?
Ooh. I'm going to go Dak. I don't know what Josh said. Did you say Dak also?
He said Dak too.
Yeah.
But my question is, all right, give me your reasons why.
Well, it's been, we've been in a long drought as a Dallas Cowboy winning a Super Bowl. And so that's probably my main answer right there. It's like, it's time. We are way overdue. We've had the talent. We've had all the weapons, and we just still cannot get it done.
But it's been a long time since the San Francisco 49ers have won one.
I don't care about them.
Now they've been to Super Bowls. They've been to Super Bowls. They haven't won one. I agree. The reason I think it's Dak is it's because being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys is the most prestigious quarterback
it's
position.
way bigger
in
than the
league.
Mavericks.
Right. But I think Luka, from a standpoint of being one of the best players in the league, which we're going to get to when we talk about where we feel like LeBron's season's been as a Laker, but is that being one of the best in the league, NBA guys are very similar to quarterbacks. And honestly, I think that I would list NFL quarterbacks, NBA players, Major League Baseball players on who gets labeled or judged by World Series or championships would be in that order. NFL quarterbacks, NBA superstars, and then Major League Baseball players. Honestly, probably the next would be golfers and majors. Do you agree with that, Josh?
Yeah.
When it comes to who wins a championship, and I think it matters because, like right now, the other thing that, and not only LeBron, but Kevin Durant is in that situation too. Both of those guys have won championships. The difference is LeBron has won one that I give him credit for, and that's the one in Cleveland. The bubble, maybe, because they did win one in the bubble. It was the different circumstances. They found a way to win it. But Kevin Durant right now is being talked at, one of the greatest ever, but has a ring. But can he win one as the guy? Not the sidekick to Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, but can he win one? And then you look at LeBron. LeBron, is it fair that LeBron doesn't get the understanding that I'm averaging 30 points a game, I'm 38 years old, but still you're telling me I've not done enough? And I think it's because of what I said earlier. The second stat of pressure of winning rings is the NBA player. And really what he's done in LA, he was still healthy. They haven't won. They're probably going to be on the outside looking in again for the playoffs. So I think his success and if you label LeBron's time in LA, it is not good enough.
I don't think it's good enough, but I think it's part of a bigger problem with LeBron as his career, the way he has chosen to do things, and he's right at the forefront of this in my mind, of that push to do the super team thing, that you get together and win championships. And if you start listing all the all-time greats, or the ones that we grew up watching and you remember hearing about, almost all of them were singularly known for a franchise. You know,
100%.
like,
Yes, absolutely.
like now they might, you know, Jordan, you know, had a swan song, you know, and some people kind of have done things like that. But generally, you know, like Larry Bird comes to mind. He's a Boston Celtic. I mean, just like that's it. You
Magic,
know,
Magic
is
was
a
a Laker.
Laker.
Absolutely.
Jordan is a Bull. You
Right.
know, like
Yes.
there are a few.
That is gone.
Yes, and there are a few like Shaq. You know, had the Magic and the Lakers. You know, and then the Heat. You know, so Shaq kind of bounced around a little bit. And Charles Barkley bounced around a little bit. You know, in his career, and they're still up on that all time list. But like. Not, and those guys did do it in the same way that like LeBron just saying, I'm going to go take my talents to South Beach and we're going to win not one, not two, not, like all that. That was probably the biggest mistake that he ever made.
Not going to Miami, how he did it.
How he did it.
Exactly.
How he did it,
Right.
and making that proclamation and making his pursuit of being the next Jordan, the next Kobe, became a selfish pursuit, 100%. Not a, I'm gonna go here where I was planted. I'm gonna, like
I'm gonna build this
I'm
franchise
gonna make
up.
this.
Right.
I mean, what he did in Cleveland, beating a great Golden State team, I'll put up with one of the best championships
Oh yeah,
of
that was
all
crazy.
time winning. But when you go back, but it's the same thing. And I guess the difference is in the NFL, it's the same. When you think of the Denver Broncos, you think of John Elway.
Right.
Now, granted, quarterbacks at the end made a move. Joe Montana moved to KC so Steve Young could play.
And that's a normal process.
But
that's not chasing a title. That's
and bouncing around.
I'm not ready to retire, but my team's ready to move on from me. I want to find a place to play. Manning did that. Obviously, the pre-mentioned Montana did that. I mean, Babe Ruth did that. I mean, so, and you don't think of Babe Ruth as anything really but a Yankee, even though he played for the Red Sox prior to that. So when you have a large percentage of the all-time greats, like I said, are associated with a team. LeBron made sure that will not happen with him. Because he could have stayed in Cleveland and won several titles there, I have no doubt, but he chose to make it all about chasing that title, not bringing the title to where he was.
Well, and I think right now he's focused on Bronny entering the league, possibly, and he's made it very known. So if Bronny isn't a Laker, well then LeBron, I mean, that could end up being a package deal. It's like, hey, because he has made it known he wants to play at least a year with his son. And so that's going to be interesting because he could enter the draft, next year.
And I know, and we're going to transition into
all to say he would jump wherever Bronny went if he wasn't a Laker. He's going to leave the Lakers again. I mean, he is not loyal.
Right. Well, and I think it hurts the league. These super team things, I don't think it helps. I like that.
Well, and LeBron, you're not MJ, babe. Just move on.
Well, that's the thing. I like that. I like that Giannis won a championship with the Bucks.
Yeah, there's picking up free agents, and they're getting those guys towards the end of their career to help be the role players that and making trades like the Mavs did. They made a trade. Those are traditional ways of filling out a roster and trying to make a run. The guys getting together and colluding to all go to one place is just something that is a new phenomenon.
Right.
And I don't, like you said, I just don't think it's good for anybody.
Well, the Lakers
except for
haven't
maybe
made the
you
playoffs.
yourself.
And I mean, there's been like 4 times in his season or career that they haven't made the playoffs. 2 with the Cavaliers and 2 with the Lakers. So
and they're on the outside looking in now. He's injured.
Not doing great this season. I'm not a LeBron fan for many reasons, but he just doesn't do it for me. It's just not happening right now.
Yeah, so I think it's a struggle. We'll see how the NBA season rolls. When we come back, we're going to talk a little college basketball. Biggest rivalry of the weekend. Does it still have its luster? We'll be back, and then we'll head you into the weekend right after this.
You told your electricity comes from people power, from the hard-working efficiency of the men and women of the electric co-op. Their dedication to providing reliable electricity has kept families and friends connected for generations. And thankfully, people power is one energy source that you can always depend on. Learn more about the power of your co-op.
Whatever you want. Burgers. No, you already have plans.
Molly's coming to my house tomorrow.
Yeah.
Colin's birthday party. We're doing an escape room.
At your house?
Yeah. Like we ordered this kit from Etsy, and it's actually really cool.
No,
I wonder how
Like,
you're
it's
doing
no,
that.
no. I just think it's funny.
It's a whole
Kids,
kit.
it's an escape room. Disregard the cage in the bars.
Yeah, escape to your room, please. No, it's like it's got several clues, and they have to decode things. I mean, Clay and I did it. Like we set it up, and it's pretty cool. So we're gonna go and like section off our living room and kitchen and like with streamers, like.
What have we done, Webb?
And so hopefully it'll
Come
turn
on,
out okay.
Webb.
But
Come on, Webb.
and then we're gonna just roll into a gathering after that. Just hang out, so we'll all be together. But yeah, Leanne says that. I was like, feel free to drop off Molly, like, and come get her later or whatever. Like, he's not gonna be hurting anything. She can stay however long.
Independence Day, Joe.
Binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours.
Duke.
Who's counting anyways?
Wow.
Hang out with
What?
just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever
What are you wowing?
do it with it.
Yeah, what is
That's interesting.
Non-cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
When it comes to finding the right vehicle for you, there's no better place than Lawrence Hall and Appling. For over 33 years, Lawrence Hall and Appling has been the place to find the best.
There's some good college basketball on tomorrow.
Yeah.
Great products and great service too. So the next time
I am so ashy. I need more lotion.
come see us. Or visit us online. Lawrence Hall and Appling.
It's pretty brave to be ashy and wear a dress.
I will.
It's pretty bold.
I put. I know I may be the next PSA. I put on lotion before I left, but I'm like, I need more. I liked that PSA because it's something that we've all thought about. Or one thing like that, whoever I'm sitting next to, like say it's Clay and somebody's doing something crazy or being loud, I'll like nudge him, or like I was like, are you getting this? Yeah.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Live. Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Live and everything in between as we're trucking along. And you hear George Jones letting you know it's finally Friday. I hope it's a great Friday for you and you got plans. Things that you are to be looking at doing is celebrating Texas Independence Day and
the weather's gonna be nice tomorrow, so
consoling.
Yes.
if you couldn't cook out on Independence Day, you can make it the weekend.
Well, you can console those that got slapped.
Yeah,
I
they
didn't
need
know
to
it
slap
yesterday that it was Texas Independence Day. I'll be honest with you. Josh, you've done such a good job on these last two PSAs of educating folks with jerseys.
I really felt attacked on that one.
Well, you
It's not an attack.
Hey.
It's making your life better.
I do feel more educated
But you shouldn't feel attacked.
and
You just
terrible about myself. At the
no.
same time.
There are mistakes, and you overcome them. So Ethan should have had a New Jersey in his hands sometime this week. But in all that, you educated us, and I'll be honest with you. In the 12 years, a little less that we've been friends, you've probably educated me to know that yesterday was that day. So I avoided the slap, and I know it's your favorite holiday. But it is Friday, and there's a lot of stuff going on this weekend. And one of those is college basketball. And I wanted to throw this out. College game day is going to be there tomorrow, and it's not in Austin. They're going to be at Chapel Hill. And does it matter that neither one of these two teams are ranked? Is the Duke-UNC rivalry still at that level without Coach K, without Roy Williams? Hubert Davis is going to have a chance to go from the finals championship game to not even in the tournament. Does the Duke-North Carolina game do anything for you?
No. I like it. I like the nostalgia of it, the history, but I don't feel like it's what it used to be. So it no longer makes me super excited.
Josh?
I 100% agree. Now they have not fallen from prominence,
Of course.
like completely, but it's obviously like a made for TV push at this point with with Coach K being gone, like you mentioned, it's like, yeah, it's a big deal, obviously but it's more of a regional big deal, I think.
I think it's still a national big deal. I do think if you had to rank it from 100, I bet it's dropped down to 80.
It's luster for sure.
Well,
because Coach K made it what it was. I mean, there's just so much history there that it's gone now.
I think that's interesting, but
I think it's a ratings push. Because it's not. I think that this late in the season, your college game day atmosphere should be about playoff place or bracket placement. Seeding in that type of scenario. Not, hey, these teams don't like each other.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, that's just my personal opinion.
Well, and so this weekend there is a lot of that.
There is
about
quite a bit.
bracketology.
Yeah. What do you think? I mean, what's your?
I think it's still a big deal. Now, if we go to Josh's tomorrow, is it going to be on the TV? I doubt it, unless it's requested, because there is still plenty. One of our questions that we threw out to you was, since football is over, what is your TV stuff going to? And we had everything from XFL to USFL, UFC, which that's a big fight this weekend that's going on. I wish I knew anything about that. But UFC's this weekend. And so, but people are watching some other things. So I do think the Duke, North Carolina thing is still relevant. I think it's still there. It is Michigan, Ohio State of basketball. And probably still, if you were to rank the top 10 rivalries of all sports across the board, it's probably in the top 5 or 6 across the board of top rivalries in everything. And
I don't disagree with that. It's just Michigan. You said Michigan and OSU. Obviously that's a huge game, but is it really big outside of that area when they're not ranked number 1 and number 3? I mean, like
yeah,
you could debate that.
But
when you start looking at the top 25 games tomorrow that you need to be looking out for, Texas A&M and Alabama, Baylor and Iowa State, Kansas looking really good. Tech, just unfortunately down the stretch, is probably going to see themselves as an NIT team. Texas and Baylor, or Texas and Kansas do play at 2 tomorrow. So there's plenty of stuff, plenty of games to watch. Of course, the XFL will be on this weekend. And, of course, I'll be watching Bay Hill, watching golf as well. So what's your weekend plans?
Well, we are celebrating Colin's birthday, and then I'm going to kind of piggyback on her party and celebrate my birthday because I don't have another weekend that I could celebrate mine. So we're doing that tomorrow, and we are setting our house up as an escape room. We ordered it from Etsy, and it seems pretty cool. So I hope it works out. I hope the girls like it. But that is her birthday party, and then, cakes and ice cream.
You fall on March 13th?
The 16th.
16th.
And it's spring break. My birthday's always hard because it falls on that week. So usually the week before and the week after, people are traveling, friends are gone. So we just thought, this year, Collins' birthday was last week.
She's celebrating 10.
She's 10. And me, 27. So it's, it's really cool.
That could be a PSA too. So, embrace the age you are. Don't make one up to see what people might think you are. Josh, what are you doing? I know she's 30-something.
Well, you don't assume.
Oh, I know. I'm confirmed.
I'm in my 20s.
Yeah, easy. What?
Well, from what I gathered, the weather's going to be pretty nice tomorrow, so I'll probably do some yard work. The kids have several birthday parties that they've been invited to, so
I feel attacked.
I'll see about that.
Are you sending?
I'm not going to bring Molly over there. She can walk or Leanne will be there.
Yeah. I may try to hit a white golf ball. Weather's supposed to be nice to do so. I may try to hit a golf ball. Celebrate Texas Independence Day.
Yeah.
Do some preaching on Sunday. Question some of my church divas on Sunday.
He's going to be so he's going to be looking out and he's going to just go.
We don't have any church divas. I can say that. Those folks that are listening from rotation, we don't have any church divas. We have people that love the Lord, worship, intent.
You've got to say.
Yeah.
I judge.
Yeah, well.
Gosh, that's it. We're going.
I'm telling
Sunday.
You, feel free at the Hodge Pack, post pictures if you want of your church divas this week.
Don't be that rude.
Cover their face up like on Cops. That way nobody knows that it's them.
We should just roll up to Rotan, all decked out.
You're more than welcome.
And sing real
You're
loud.
more than welcome. Hey,
I'll be
are until proven guilty.
That's right. So, church divas, you keep real this weekend. Hey, good luck to all those that are playing in the regional tournament tonight. Monday, Benjamin and Jayton, and again, of course, Coach Scott Richardson with Toller. Hopefully, take care of business today. Martins Mill and Lipan, whoever made that decision to put that semifinal game today was not very smart. But other than that, hey, don't forget, tune in to Greg Austin from 2 to 3 this afternoon for the Texas Stew Step, and then you'll, of course, have Texas Music Extreme at night. Red Dirt Proud this weekend. Don't forget JB Cloud coming in at 10. Hi, Lonesome, and Jones will be back with you Monday morning. We'll be back next week. The Players' Championship, March Madness getting closer, championship weekend, all the things. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Peace.
Okay, I'm going to go pee and try not to be